You have almost certainly seen a video like this in your feed. A content creator approaches an unhoused person on the street, camera rolling, before thrusting a wad of cash or a new smartphone into their hands. The entire interaction is engineered for maximum engagement. The swelling background music, the perfectly timed reaction shot, and the crying face thumbnail are all carefully calibrated to drive up subscriber counts and ad revenue. This raises a surprisingly difficult question. If a hungry person gets a warm meal, or an unhoused person gets money for rent, why should anyone care if the camera holder did it to get a million views? 2,000 years ago, during the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus of Nazareth outlined a psychological diagnostic test that targeted this exact behavior. He warned that treating charity as a public spectacle strips the action of its spiritual value. Doing a good deed for the wrong reason hollows out the act itself, turning an act of love into a cheap transaction for attention. Performative morality feels like a byproduct of the internet, but it is an ancient, hardwired human flaw. When Jesus confronted the religious elites of his day about their public displays of charity, he used a very specific Greek term to describe them: hypocrites. Look at this ancient stone amphitheater. In the first century Greco-Roman world, the word hypocrite had nothing to do with religion. It was a technical term for a stage actor. Notice the exaggerated, hollow expressions of these carved stone masks. Stage actors, or hypocrites, wore these physical props to artificially project a specific character or loud emotion to the crowds in the back row. So Jesus was issuing a devastating critique. He was telling the religious elites that they were not actually pious. They were simply wearing masks, playing characters for the applause of the crowd. To see how this theatricality played out in real life, we have to look at the economic center of ancient Judea, the temple in Jerusalem. The temple courtyards contained specific collection receptacles for charitable giving, called shofirot. These receptacles were shaped like trumpets, wide at the bottom and narrow at the top, constructed out of brass. Because of this design, the metal amplified the sound of whatever was dropped inside. Look at the sheer weight of these heavy bronze coins. Wealthy citizens would deliberately throw handfuls of these heavy coins down the brass funnels to guarantee a loud, ringing noise that would attract everyone's attention. Jesus watched this spectacle and delivered a brutal economic assessment. They have received their reward in full. This diagram of a dual-sided ledger illustrates the specific Greek word Jesus used here, apeko. It was a strict first-century business and accounting term. Apeko means a receipt that has been paid out in full. The balance drops to absolute zero. When you trade your virtue for human applause, that applause is your final paycheck. The transaction is immediately closed, and God owes you absolutely nothing. Jesus offered a radical alternative for escaping this trap of human applause. He told his listeners, "When you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing." These separated nodes illustrate how Augustine diagnosed this phrase, a fractured mind monitoring its public image. He argued keeping the left hand blind means completely stripping the desire for human praise from your internal conscience. You aren't watching yourself be good. The modern philosopher Dallas Willard noted that giving in this secret, uncalculated way produces shalom, a deep, lasting peace and wholeness. When you stop calculating how generous you look to everyone else, you finally shed the exhausting, constant anxiety required to maintain a performative public image. The true test of your character isn't the scale of your good deeds. It's whether you will perform them solely for an audience of one.
If you were inspired, please hit like and subscribe. Join our community and let's walk with Jesus together.